Thank you, thank you. How is everybody doing? All right. I was just on a meetup, right? And it is called Chicago Podcasting Meetup, what the group is called. And the individual is Julie Roast and Farina. Very good. Very good event. I thought it was a good event. I liked it, enjoyed it, learned a lot actually. And I'll show you what I learned, right? As you may know, I have a video. I teach a course on Udemy, of course, right? Podcast in 24 hours. And this is just a video of it. Now, one thing I didn't know before I went to the Chicago Podcasting Meetup group, they have them every month, looks like. One thing I didn't know. So their name of their meetup is Learn the Secrets of Podcasting. Have them every month. Now, one thing I learned, a couple different things, right? One was the microphones that the individuals use, say like the baseball games or whatever, they're called dynamic microphone. It means like I have to get really close to my face in order for it to register with the microphone. So if someone around me is talking, it doesn't register. And that's very good. I like those kind of microphones. That's one thing I learned. The other thing I learned was Isotope is a website. These are bundles, so you can. I guess it's like Adobe Audition, something like that, similar to Adobe Audition. And the one recommended to me was Post Production Suite 6. And I'm going to have to, of course, Google this and watch a couple videos and figure out what exactly it is and how it can apply to me and what I'm doing. And yeah, this is it right here, actually. By RX Elements is what the individual David who talked about. The other sites I want to go over that I learned about, one was Chartable.com. The Chartable is podcast analytics for publisher, right? So I'd put a publisher in here. I'm a publisher here. And then I would get information about my podcast, whatever it is. And I think there's a pay here as well. Probably there's a pay mechanism probably somewhere. Probably there's a second pay mechanism. The other site I learned about was Gaana, GAANA.com. And these are, looks like they're Indian geared podcasts. So if you in India, you live in India or whatever, this podcast is geared towards that. The other site I looked at or I learned about was Pitch Podcast. So Pitch Podcast is about how can you get members? How can you get individuals to join your podcast? These are like, what would I call it? I would call it these individuals who want to be on your podcast, but you don't know who they are, and they don't know who you are. This links the podcast host with the person who wants to be on the podcast. I want to be on your podcast, right? This is the site. This is one of them anyway. Pitch Podcast. Another one is Audrey. Join Audrey community and deliver the audience you need to reach your podcast goals. Is it similar to that as well? You can explore. You can find people to be on your podcast. The other one is, this is a little different, right? This is podcharts.co. This allows you to track your podcast. You know, if your podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever. Go back to what I was talking about for having an individual on your podcast, right? Let's go to the link. Yeah, here we go. Podmatch. So this is a good one. Now, of course, I'm going to sign up on a couple of these, right? So I can figure it out. But Podmatch automatically matches ideal podcast hosts and guests for interviews. How cool is that? Can't wait to try it. Moving on to the other links I have here. Yeah, that's actually just Pitch Podcast, that one I'm searching for. So this is the same one as this one here, same one. Close that. Basically, this is Pitch Podcast, the same one. Find individuals to be on your podcast. This one here, right? So the Podetize, like, you know, I have to actually read a little bit so I can figure out, because they talked about it, but I don't remember what. I didn't catch it, right? I didn't catch the gist of what they were talking about. Let's see. Hi, this is large podcast production company. World. It's a production company. Okay, maybe this is one where you can post your podcast there to this site. So our podcast. Maybe this is that one. Perhaps, yeah. Maybe it's a podcast where you can host your podcast. Yeah, it makes sense. Your audit as well. Audit your podcast. On to the next site. That's it. And I think I went over already the meetup, right? Yep. So I've gone through all of these sites here, these sites that I'm talking about. But definitely the one I'm going to try. Excuse me. The one I'm going to try is, I could hear. Definitely one I'm going to try is Podmatch. Because I'd love to be able to just have individuals on my podcast. And, why not, right? Meet other people out there. Very good. Very good deal. All right. So if you would like to watch this my podcast in 24 hours video, just go to my channel, Gary McNeely, and find it. It has 15 views now. Leave a comment, I guess, and hey, I found this video on your channel, and thanks a lot for sharing. Something like that. Whatever you want to do. So, thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next one.